Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today we're going to be reviewing the Duo Project by Simon Neil from Biffy, Clyro and Mike Vernat from Oceansize. This is Empire State Bastard, a spin-off in a way of Biffy, Clyro, or I guess is what some people have called this, but yeah, it's basically a lot heavier take on something that Simon Neil's ever done. This is pretty much it's honestly a really weird project. It was planned to be a grindcore project, but it ended up having just instead varying styles of heavy metal. And from what the band's described with this record and this whole project is that Vernat had said they wanted to make the most fucking poisonous, vile music he could possibly think of, just an abridged hatred in musical form, while Simon Neil from Biffy, Clyro had said lyrically thought of it as misanthropic and nihilistic as he's ever written. And literally just listening to the first about 10 seconds, you can tell from the lyrics we're flirting in the park, snorting ketamine like I'm supposed to. There's vultures all around, slowly circling, ready to pick my bones. Like, you can kind of tell that they're trying to go for something that's not really in the line of sound you'd expect from these two bands, but I guess that's what makes this feel more sudden, spontaneous. And the fact that this got a lot of attention just from this little project, which I literally only just heard about, randomly mentioned from someone that Simon Neil's got, the front man of this new Duo project, is pretty insane. And because it's pretty much just Simon Neil and they need another guitarist other than Mike Vernat and Simon Neil, they needed other components to this band, so they had Naomi McLeod from Bitch Falcon and Dave Lombardo, who you might know as one of the original people from Slayer. And I think with him on drums, he's definitely executed just some of the best components and some of the best drumming I've heard in a while, especially from him. It's insane when you go from tracks like Tired Eye, which doesn't really have any guitars but instead highlights the drumming of his, and then going into tracks like Sold, where he's just blitzing out. Even tracks like Stutter, you just hear some menacing drum work on there, but the guitars are insane as well. And I think the fact that we're hearing an album that's almost entirely just death growls from Simon Neil was impressive, because while we do hear a bit of screaming here and there from Biffy, Clyro, that tends to be something that leans towards their earlier sound, kind of bringing it back in some of the more recent albums, I guess, like A Celebration of Endings, if you want to count tracks like Cop Syrup, and a little bit of it in The Myth of Happily Ever After. But in the overall terms of Biffy, Clyro, this just feels like a scapegoat to try and do some random project, and it's honestly just a weirdly confusing album that's just honestly fascinatingly good. There's a lot of components to it. I wouldn't mind saying more. I like this one. I think the softer vocals, some of the grittier moments, the instrumentals just bursting out is incredible on this track. Sold, this one's an iconic one to me. This one's going to be standing test of time as one of their more standout tracks. I like this one. Sold to the Highest Bidder, just hearing Simon Neil scream, that's quite cool. And yeah, Harvest, which, like I mentioned, the intro is very weird, but this song was the main one they wanted to promote the album with, so take that if you will. This record is weird because you either got some songs that are pretty long, like 6 minutes or 5 minutes, then a lot of the rest are just 2 minutes, so it feels like they have a lot of small ideas they want to jam pack and experiment, trying to do every sort of sound and explore so many areas sonically. And I guess that's the overall result of what this is. It's a pretty interesting concept, and I think honestly I wanted to like it more than I did, but I still think it's quite an interesting, enjoyable experience. I don't think casual Biffy Clyro fans who like the more softer stuff would even get into this. This is definitely something that's for complete different audience. But I feel like if you do enjoy elements of heavy metal, I guess there's a little bit of avant-garde metal in there, and even some people saying it's a bit progressive, then you might like some of the elements of this. But this is a very weird album, and I'm actually surprised that this one has claim to fame and actually charted number 3 in Scotland and 46 on the UK charts. I'm quite shocked, but it's an interesting concept. I still think it's fun, I still think it has some great ideas, and I'm actually interested to see where this goes from here. I don't know which is going to release an album next. We might get Empire State Bastards one next, or Biffy Clyro, but I'm assuming we're most likely going to get Biffy, because that's literally the big band of Simon Neil. But this has been an interesting ride, and I definitely have been wanting to talk about this album since I saw Harvest release as a single. A lot of fun songs. I don't think there's really anything bad, but there's some elements, like just the fact that Tired Eye is just mainly drumming, which is cool, but I kind of wish there's a little bit more. But again, they're experimenting with a lot of different ideas, so I'm quite happy with that. I think this album is a 3.5 out of 5, and I'm going to wrap it up there. So thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video.